Your kind disgusts me. Another dirty criminal crawling out from that black skin." Officer Derek Hayes' words sliced through the parking lot as he drove Jamal Thompson's face into the pavement. The 16-year-old's cheekbone cracked. Hayes' knee crushed his spine. "I paid for this," Jamal gasped. Hayes twisted his arm. "Sure you did. Lying's in your blood." Jamal's receipt scattered in the wind. His Stanford letter crumpled beneath Hayes' boot. Blood pooled on asphalt. 20 people watched. Phones up. Nobody moved. Jamal's phone buzzed. Dad calling. Then everything stopped. Tires screamed. A vehicle skidded to a halt. Doors flew open. Multiple footsteps. Fast. Urgent. Hayes looked up. His smirk died. Whatever he saw made his hand release Jamal's neck. Made him stand. Made his face go white. Have you ever wondered what could make a cop look that terrified? Drop a comment. What's the wildest injustice you've seen? Stick around. This twist changes everything. 45 minutes earlier, Jamal Thompson was just a kid shopping for his sister's birthday. Brookside Plaza buzzed with Sunday morning energy. Jamal walked through the clothing store holding up a blue sweater. He texted his mom a photo. "Sophia's going to love this, right?" His phone lit up with a reply from someone labeled MT. "On my way, son. Be safe out there." Jamal smiled and pocketed his phone. He grabbed the sweater, added a matching hat, and headed to checkout. The cashier, a young white woman named Emily Carter, rang him up. "That'll be $47, she said cheerfully. Jamal handed over his debit card. The machine beeped. Transaction approved. Emily printed the receipt and tucked it into the bag with the items. "Your sister's lucky," Emily said. "These just came in yesterday. She's turning 12. Big day." Jamal took the bag and turned to leave. That's when the alarm went off. Not in Emily's store. 3 shops down at the electronics retailer. A shrill beep pierced the plaza. Shoppers turned their heads. Security guard Kevin Morales spoke into his radio, voice urgent. "We have a 105 at Gadget World. Male suspect fleeing toward the east exit." The dispatcher's voice crackled back. Description. Morales squinted down the corridor. Black male, late teens, wearing a dark sweater and backpack. That vague call, blackmail in a sweater, echoed the Trayvon Martin case where assumptions turned deadly. Jamal was 50 FT away, browsing a window display. He wore a gray sweater. He carried a backpack. He had no idea he matched a description. Morales spotted him. His eyes narrowed. Jamal was the only black teenager visible in that section of the plaza. "I've got eyes on a possible suspect," Morales said into his radio. "Moving to intercept." Jamal's phone buzzed again. Another text from MT. "ETA 15 minutes. Love you." Jamal typed back, "Love you too, Dad." He never got to send it. Morales was already moving, already calling it in, already making the worst assumption of his career. And Officer Derek Hayes was already in his patrol car 2 blocks away, lights starting to flash, accelerating toward the plaza. Jamal picked up his shopping bag and headed toward the exit. He had no idea what was about to happen. Bondong Duaviet Day du 1002. Jamal pushed through the plaza's glass doors into the parking lot. Sunlight hit his face. He adjusted his backpack and checked his phone. His sister Sophia had texted. "Can't wait to see what you got me." He was typing a reply when he heard the voice. "You stop right there." Jamal looked up. Officer Derek Hayes was striding toward him, hand on his gun holster. His partner, Officer Michael Chen, followed a few steps behind. Jamal froze. "Me?" "Don't move." Hayes closed the distance fast. "Put your hands where I can see them." Jamal's stomach dropped. He raised both hands slowly, phone in one, shopping bag in the other. "Officer, I think there's been a mistake. I said don't move." Hayes grabbed Jamal's shoulder and spun him around. Empty your pockets now. I just bought now. Jamal's hands shook as he complied. He pulled out his wallet, his keys, his phone. Hayes snatched them, shoving Jamal against a parked car. The metal was hot under Jamal's palms. What's in the bag? A sweater and a hat for my sister's birthday. I have the receipt right. Hayes ripped the bag open. He pulled out the blue sweater, inspected it like it was stolen goods, then tossed it on the ground. The hat followed. He grabbed the receipt, glanced at it for maybe 2 seconds, then crumpled it in his fist and dropped it. Anyone can fake a receipt. Jamal stared in disbelief. What? No, that's real. The store clerk can confirm. Sure, she can. Hayes' voice dripped with sarcasm. He turned to Chen. Check his ID. Chen picked up Jamal's wallet, pulled out his driver's license and student ID. He studied them both carefully. Jamal Thompson, age 16, Lakeside High School. Chen looked up. Hayes, he's got an honor roll sticker on this. Hayes didn't even glance at it. So honor roll kids steal too. A crowd was forming now, shoppers coming out of the plaza, drawn by the commotion. Phones started rising. At least 19 or 20 people watching, recording everything. Jamal could feel every eye on him. His face burned with shame. I didn't steal anything. Please just check the security footage inside. You'll see. Turn around, Hayes ordered. Sir, if you just... I said turn around. Hayes grabbed Jamal's arm and yanked him, slamming his chest against the car hood. The impact knocked the breath from his lungs. Hands behind your back. Jamal obeyed, his heart hammered against his ribs. This wasn't real. This couldn't be happening. Not to him. Not for buying a birthday present. Mom's words rang in his head. Always come home safe, baby. Hayes kicked Jamal's feet apart. Spread your legs. Officer, I have done nothing wrong. Shut your mouth. Hayes began patting him down, rough and aggressive, hands running down his sides, his legs checking his waistband, his ankles. All of it visible to the growing crowd. All of it humiliating. Someone in the crowd muttered, Jesus, is that necessary? Hayes ignored them. He pulled Jamal's backpack off and unzipped it. Books spilled out onto the pavement, a calculus textbook spine broken from use, a copy of The Souls of Black Folk for English class, a binder full of notes, a folder labeled Stanford Application Materials. Hayes picked up the folder, opened it. Inside was Jamal's acceptance letter. The one his mom had cried over. The one that represented 4 years of straight A's, volunteer work, leadership positions. Stanford, huh? Hayes held it up, voice loud enough for everyone to hear. What did you do? Steal the acceptance letter too? A few people in the crowd laughed. Not many, but enough that Jamal heard it, enough to make his stomach twist. Jamal's eyes stung. That's mine. I earned that. Sure you did. Hayes tossed the folder aside like trash, pages scattered in the breeze. Jamal watched his future blow across the parking lot. That's when Emily Carter came running out of the plaza. Officers. Officers. Wait. She was breathless, waving her iPad. I'm the clerk from Fashion Hub. I sold him that sweater 10 minutes ago. Hayes barely looked at her. Ma'am, step back. But I have the transaction record right here. Emily thrust her iPad forward, showing the time-stamped receipt. Jamal could see it from where he stood. Clear proof. See Jamal Thompson. Debit card ending in 3948. Purchased at 11:27 a.m. That's him. I remember him because he was buying a gift for his sister. Chen stepped forward. Hayes, maybe we should... We're following protocol. Hayes cut him off. He turned to Emily, voice harder now. Ma'am, this is police business. I need you to step back now. But he didn't steal anything. Emily's voice rose with desperation. I literally just sold him those items. I can show you the store cameras. Step back. Hayes's hand moved to his belt to his weapon. Emily hesitated, fear crossing her face. Then she retreated, but she didn't leave. She stood at the edge of the crowd, iPad clutched to her chest, shaking her head, tears forming in her eyes. Jamal caught her eye. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Thank you for trying." She nodded, one tear spilling over. Hayes's radio crackled. "Unit 43, what's your status?" Hayes keyed his radio. "Suspect detained. Requesting backup for transport. Backup en route. Be advised. Dispatch, report. Suspect may be armed." Jamal's blood went cold. His whole body went numb. "What?" "I'm not armed. I don't have a weapon." Hayes's hand went to his gun. "Get on the ground now. I'm not armed. On the ground." Hayes drew his weapon. The gun came out of its holster in one smooth motion. The crowd gasped. Several people screamed. Chen's hand went to his own gun, but he didn't draw it. His face showed clear discomfort. Jamal dropped to his knees, hands raised high above his head. "Please don't shoot. I'm not resisting. I don't have a weapon. Please. Face down, hands behind your head." Jamal lowered himself onto the asphalt. The concrete was hot against his cheek. Rough, tiny pieces of gravel pressed into his skin. He laced his fingers behind his head, trying not to shake. Mom's words again. "Keep your hands visible. Say yes, sir. Come home safe." He was trying. God, he was trying. Hayes holstered his gun and dropped his knee onto Jamal's back hard, all his weight. The air rushed out of Jamal's lungs. He couldn't expand his chest. "I can't breathe," Jamal gasped. "Stop resisting." Hayes pressed down harder. "I'm not resisting." Jamal's voice came out strangled, desperate. "I can't breathe." "Then stop talking." Hayes grabbed Jamal's right arm, wrenched it back at an unnatural angle. Something in Jamal's shoulder popped. Pain exploded down his arm. Voices erupted from the crowd. "He's a kid. Check the receipt." "This is wrong," a white mom whispered to her daughter. "This is messed up." But the phone stayed up. 20 cameras recording. 0 people physically intervening. Jamal's phone lying on the ground near his head started buzzing. The screen lit up. Dad calling. It rang and rang and rang. Nobody answered it. A second patrol car pulled up, lights flashing red and blue. Sergeant Robert Diaz stepped out along with 2 more officers. Diaz walked over, taking in the scene. "What do we have?" Hayes, still kneeling on Jamal, said, "Suspect matching description from the electronics store theft. Detained him as he was leaving the plaza." Diaz looked down at Jamal, then at the scattered shopping bags and papers. He picked up the crumpled receipt, smoothed it out, read it carefully. "This receipt's from today. Timestamp 20 minutes ago." "Could be forged," Hayes said. Diaz's eyebrows rose. "Forged in 20 minutes? It's possible." Diaz crouched down, looked at Jamal's face. Blood had started to trickle from Jamal's nose. "Son, what's your name?" "Jamal Thompson," Jamal managed to whisper. "I'm 16. I'm a student at Lakeside High." Diaz picked up Jamal's student ID from the ground. He studied it carefully. "Honor roll? 4.0 GPA?" He looked at Hayes. "You pat him down." "Yes, sir. Clean. No weapons. Any contraband in his bags? School books, papers, college stuff?" Diaz stood up slowly. He looked at the crowd, at all the phones recording. Every angle covered. He looked at Emily Carter, still holding her iPad with trembling hands. Then he looked back at Jamal, still pinned under Hayes's knee. For a moment, the sergeant seemed to consider something. His face showed conflict. Jamal felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this would end here. "Maybe bring him in for questioning," Diaz said. "Better safe than sorry." The hope died instantly. Hayes hauled Jamal to his feet. Jamal's shoulder screamed in pain. His legs almost gave out. Hayes steadied him roughly, then pulled out his handcuffs. "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law." The metal cuffs clicked around Jamal's wrists. Cold, tight, too tight. Each click echoed in Jamal's ears like a gunshot. The crowd's reactions split down the middle. Some shouted, "Protests! This is racial profiling. Let him call his parents. Check the security cameras first." Others stood silent, uncomfortable, but unwilling to speak. A middle-aged white man near the back said quietly, "The officers are just doing their jobs. If the kid didn't do anything wrong, it'll get sorted out." A black woman next to him shook her head. "You don't understand. This is how it always goes." Arguments broke out. The crowd fractured into clusters of debate. Meanwhile, Jamal stood in handcuffs, center stage in his own public humiliation. His phone buzzed again on the ground, Dad calling still unanswered. Hayes walked Jamal toward the patrol car. Jamal's mind raced. This couldn't be happening. He'd done everything right, everything his parents had drilled into him since he was old enough to understand. "Keep your hands visible." "Say yes, sir." "No, sir. Don't make sudden moves. Stay calm. Be polite." He'd done all of it, and he was still in handcuffs. As they approached the car, Jamal looked back one more time. The crowd stared, some faces sympathetic, some indifferent, some already turning away. Emily Carter still stood there. She'd picked up his phone. The screen still showed Dad calling. Jamal wanted to yell to her, to beg her to answer it, to tell his dad what was happening, but Hayes's hand was on his head now, pushing him down. Hayes opened the back door of the patrol car. He put his hand on Jamal's head, pushing him down into the seat, not gently. The door slammed shut. The sound was final, absolute, like a cell door closing. Through the window, Jamal could see everything he was leaving behind. The plaza entrance where this nightmare started. The scattered papers from his Stanford folder, some already blowing away. The blue sweater crumpled on the ground, dirt-stained now. His sister's birthday present destroyed. Hayes climbed into the driver's seat. Chen got in on the passenger side. The car smelled like sweat and old coffee. Chen looked back at Jamal through the metal partition. "Kid," Chen said quietly, and Jamal could hear genuine discomfort in his voice. "This will get sorted out at the station. Just stay calm. Cooperate. It'll be okay." Jamal didn't respond. What was there to say? He'd been calm. He'd been polite. He'd cooperated completely. And he was still being arrested. Chen turned back around, looking troubled. His jaw was tight, but he didn't say anything else. Didn't challenge Hayes. Hayes started the engine. The car rumbled to life. As the car pulled away from the curb, Jamal watched through the rear window. Emily Carter was still standing there, phone pressed to her ear now. She must have answered his dad's call. She was talking, gesturing. Good. At least someone would tell him. The crowd was dispersing. Some still filming, probably already posting to social media. Some shaking their heads. Some already walking back into the plaza. Just another Sunday at Brookside Plaza. Jamal closed his eyes. His shoulder throbbed with every heartbeat. His wrists ached from the too tight cuffs. His face still stung from the rough asphalt. But the physical pain wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the humiliation, the helplessness, the knowledge that he'd done everything his mother taught him, and it hadn't mattered. Always come home safe, baby. He'd tried, Mom. He'd really tried. The patrol car turned onto the main road. The plaza disappeared behind them. Jamal sat alone in the back seat, hands cuffed behind his back, shoulder aching, throat tight with unshed tears. And somewhere his dad was calling again and again, unable to reach his son, not knowing that in 30 minutes he would see the security footage, would watch every second of his son's humiliation, would mobilize 10 FBI agents. But Jamal didn't know that yet. All Jamal knew was fear, and the terrible certainty that his life had just changed forever. The Brookside police station smelled like burnt coffee and old paperwork. Hayes walked Jamal through the front entrance, hand gripping his arm. The handcuffs bit into Jamal's wrists. Officer Nicole Harris looked up from the front desk. Name: Jamal Thompson, but I need to call my parents. Hayes cut him off. Suspected retail theft. Brookside Plaza. Run his record, Harris typed quickly. She frowned. No prior clean. Hayes shrugged. First time for everything. I didn't steal anything. Jamal's voice rose. I showed you the receipt. Receipts can be forged. Witnesses can lie. So can cops, Jamal shot back. Hayes' face darkened. He stepped closer. Sergeant Diaz appeared. That's enough. Hayes. My office. Chen. Process him. Chen unlocked the handcuffs. Jamal's wrists were red and marked. He led Jamal down a narrow hallway to a small holding room. 10x10 FTO. Gray walls. Metal table bolted to the floor. 2 chairs. A camera in the corner. Red light blinking. Sit tight, Chen said. This will get sorted out. When can I call my parents? Soon, I promise. The door closed. Jamal was alone. He sat down slowly. His shoulder throbbed where Hayes had twisted it. His cheek stung from the asphalt, but the physical pain wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the humiliation, the helplessness. He looked at the camera. Is anyone watching this? I'm innocent. I didn't do anything wrong. Silence, just the red light blinking. The clock read 12:03 p.m. His dad got off work at 12:30. Jamal always texted when he was heading home. His family had no idea where he was. Outside in the parking lot across the street, a black SUV idled, tinted windows, no markings. Inside, Agent Laura Simmons adjusted her earpiece. We have visual. Subject is inside. Agent David Ramirez checked his tablet. Director Thompson's ETA is 8 minutes. He's watched the plaza footage. All of it. How bad? Bad. His kid got slammed face first into concrete. Knee to the back. The whole thing. Simmons's jaw tightened. The officer, Hayes. Same guy with 2 excessive force complaints last year. Both dismissed. Not this time. What's the play? We wait for the director's signal. He wants to handle it personally first. If it escalates, we move in. 10 agents standing by. Inside the interrogation room, Jamal stared at the walls. He thought about his mother's talk, the one she'd given him when he turned 13. You're black in America. The rules are different. You're twice as likely to be stopped, 3 times as likely to be arrested, 10 times as likely to be hurt. So you be careful. You be polite. You come home safe. He'd been careful. He'd been polite. And he was still here. Jamal looked at the camera again. My name is Jamal Thompson. I'm 16. I'm a student at Lakeside High. I have a 4.0 GPA. I got accepted to Stanford. I bought a sweater for my sister's birthday. That's all I did. His voice cracked. The door opened. Chen came back with a clipboard. Jamal, we pulled the security footage from the plaza. Jamal jumped up and Chen hesitated. You weren't near the electronics store during the theft. You were in a completely different section. Relief flooded through him. So, I can go. Well, Sergeant Diaz wants to complete the full report first. Standard procedure. Jamal couldn't believe it. Standard procedure? You just said I didn't do it. You have proof. I know, but then why am I still here? Chen shifted uncomfortably. Look, I'm on your side, but it's not my call. The sergeant needs to review everything, document it, then he'll release you. When? Maybe an hour? An hour? Jamal slammed his hand on the table. I've been here almost an hour already. You just admitted I'm innocent. I understand you're frustrated. Frustrated? Jamal laughed bitterly. I got thrown to the ground in front of 50 people. Your partner called me a criminal. He knelt on my back while I couldn't breathe. My Stanford letter is scattered across a parking lot. And you want me to wait another hour? Chen looked pained. I'm sorry. Just be patient, please. He left. Jamal stood shaking. He wanted to scream, to flip the table, but he couldn't because that would make him the angry black man they expected. That would end up on camera, used as evidence against him. So he sat back down, forced himself to breathe. In Diaz's office, Hayes stood at attention. This doesn't look good, Hayes. We responded to a call. The description matched. Black male sweater, backpack. Diaz looked up. Dude, that matches half the teenagers in this county. Hayes bristled. I made a judgment call. Your judgment call is all over social media. Diaz turned his monitor around. The screen showed multiple posts. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all showing Hayes' knee on Jamal's back, the crowd yelling, the scattered papers. #Brookside Plaza was trending. #Justice for Jamal had over 10,000 tweets. Hayes' jaw tightened. So what? We did our job. Did we? Diaz closed his laptop. The kid had a receipt. The clerk vouched for him. Security footage confirms his story, and you still brought him in. Better safe than sorry, or better scared than accountable. Diaz leaned forward. You drew your weapon on an unarmed teenager. Dispatch said he might be armed. Based on what? A security guard who pointed at the first black kid he saw. Hayes' face reddened. I don't care what you appreciate. Diaz stood. You know what this looks like? The optics are fine. Diaz stared at him. Fine. I'm finishing this report, releasing the kid with an apology and hoping this doesn't become a lawsuit. Hayes scoffed. The kid will be fine, Sarge. Dude's got Stanford. This will just be his wild college story. Diaz's voice went cold. Get out of my office. Sir, get out. Hayes left. Diaz sat alone, staring at his screen, at the video of Jamal's face pressed against asphalt, at the boy's terrified eyes. Outside, Simmons whispered into her earpiece. Director's en route. He's seen the body cam. It's damning. Ramirez nodded. How long? 6 minutes. He's furious. Diaz's phone rang. Sergeant Diaz. He listened. His face changed. What? When? He glanced at the door. How many? A pause. Understood. I'll be right there. He hung up slowly. FBI in his lobby. Right now for a shoplifting case. What the hell was going on? In the interrogation room, Jamal had his head on the table. The metal was cold against his forehead. He was exhausted. So tired of fighting. So tired of proving himself. The clock ticked to 12:11 p.m. Outside, the SUV's doors opened. 10 figures in tactical gear stepped out, moving toward the entrance. Inside, Jamal didn't move. He had no idea everything was about to change. No idea that FBI was about to become the most important acronym of his life. His door remained closed, but in the lobby, the front doors were opening. And what happened next would flip everything upside down. The front doors burst open. 10 agents and Navy FBI windbreakers flooded the lobby. Tactical gear, weapons visible. Officer Harris stood. Can I help you? Agent Laura Simmons stepped forward. FBI, we're here for Jamal Thompson. Harris blinked. On what grounds? We don't need grounds. Where is he? Sergeant Diaz rushed out. What's going on? Simmons showed her badge. Special Agent Simmons, FBI. This facility is under federal observation. Where is Jamal Alexander Thompson? He's a suspect in a shoplifting case. He's not a suspect. He's a minor under federal protection. You're holding him illegally. Hayes stepped forward. Federal protection for a shoplifter. Simmons locked eyes with him. You're Officer Hayes, correct? Yes, ma'am. We'll talk, but first, where is Jamal Thompson? Diaz swallowed. Holding room, North Corridor. Simmons signaled 2 agents. Ramirez Stewart, get him. They moved immediately. Hayes tried again. This is local jurisdiction. was Simmons corrected. When you detained a minor without cause and denied him counsel, this became federal. Your jurisdiction ended. She pulled out a tablet. This is plaza footage. Want to watch? The video played. Hayes slamming Jamal down, knee on his back. Jamal gasping. The ignored receipt. Emily dismissed. Stanford papers scattering. Diaz went pale. Hayes went red. We responded to a call. You racially profiled. Simmons cut him off. The suspect was white, 20s. Your description was black male, sweater, backpack. That's 40% of teenagers. You chose Jamal because of his skin. Down the hall. Agents opened Jamal's door. Jamal Thompson. He nodded, terrified. Agent Ramirez showed his badge. FBI, you're safe. Come with us. What's happening? You're not in trouble. We're getting you out. They led him to the lobby. Jamal froze when he saw it. 10 federal agents. Diaz looking pale, Hayes looking scared. Simmons turned. Jamal, are you injured? He touched his cheek, my shoulder, my face. But I'm okay. Did anyone deny you a phone call or counsel? Jamal glanced at Hayes. Yes, multiple times. Simmons made a note, eyes never leaving Hayes. Hayes stepped forward. Wait. Simmons held up a hand. Officer Hayes, speak to your union rep. Everything you say is being recorded for federal investigation. Hayes shut his mouth. The front doors opened. Everyone turned. A man walked in. Late 40s, black, 6'F tall, dark suit, FBI badge on his belt. But the way the other agents straightened the way Simmons stepped aside. This was someone senior. The man's eyes swept the room and locked onto Jamal. Jamal stared. Something was familiar. The jaw. The way he stood. The dad. Barely a whisper. The room gasped. The man crossed the lobby in 3 strides, hands on Jamal's shoulders, scanning for injuries. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? Jamal couldn't speak. The man hugged him tight, quick but fierce, then turned to face the room, his voice changed, commanding. I'm Director Marcus Thompson, FBI Regional Bureau. Pause. And this is my son. Complete silence. Jamal's mind spun. Director. His dad worked in federal administration. He'd never asked details. Marcus kept his hand on Jamal's shoulder. 33 minutes ago, my son's phone stopped moving. I have a tracking app, standard for federal agents' families. When I saw his location at this station, I pulled the plaza footage myself. He looked at Hayes. I watched everything. The stop, the search, the force, the denial of rights. His voice was controlled but furious underneath. My son was buying a birthday gift, had a receipt, a witness, did nothing wrong. Yet he was thrown down, handcuffed, detained. Diaz tried to speak. Director Thompson, we responded to a theft. You racially profiled a teenager. Marcus pulled out his tablet. Original dispatch. Black male, late teens, dark sweater, backpack. That's meaningless. Guard Morales pointed at my son because Jamal was the only black teenager visible. He swiped screens. Here's the actual suspect. White male, early 20s, red sweater, no backpack. Left 6 minutes before Jamal was approached. He showed them. Jamal was 50 yards from the theft. Different store with receipt with witness. Hayes didn't care. He saw a black teenager and assumed guilt. Hayes went white. Marcus turned to Jamal, voice softer. Son, for the record, did Hayes read your rights before detaining you? Not until he was handcuffing me. After he'd already searched me and thrown me down. Did he ask consent to search? No. Did you request a phone call? Multiple times. He said I'd get one at the station. I never did. Marcus nodded. Agent Simmons played the full footage. Simmons connected to the wall TV. The video played everything. Jamal shopping, smiling, paying, Emily giving the receipt, Jamal walking out unaware, Hayes approaching with immediate aggression. No questions, just assumption. Jamal raising hands, trying to explain. Hayes grabbing him, slamming him. The rough search, scattered books, the Stanford folder. Hayes mocking it. Crowd laughing. Emily running out with her iPad. Hayes dismissing her. Hayes drawing his weapon. Jamal on his knees, hands high. Hayes forcing him face down. Hayes' knee on his back. I can't breathe. Stop resisting. Jamal wasn't moving. Wasn't resisting. The knee stayed for 43 more seconds. The video ended. Silence. Some officers looked away. Some looked disturbed. Marcus let the silence sit, then spoke. Sergeant Diaz, I watched my 16-year-old son get brutalized. Honor roll student, Stanford-bound, never had a detention. I watched him plead innocence while evidence was at his feet, ignored. I watched him be denied his rights. And I watched 50 people film it instead of help because they feared police. His voice hardened. This isn't bad policing. This is federal civil rights violation. It ends today. Diaz's voice was weak. Director Thompson, we were trying to do our jobs. Serve and protect who? You saw a black teenager and saw a threat. That's all it took. Marcus turned to Simmons. I want statements from every officer involved. Body camera footage, dispatch recordings, plaza footage preserved, everything. Official federal investigation. Yes, sir. Marcus turned to Hayes, looked him in the eye. Officer Hayes, you put your knee on my son's back while he begged for air. You mocked his achievements. You denied him a phone call. You drew your weapon on an unarmed teenager with a shopping bag and receipt. You violated his 4th, 5th, and 14th Amendment rights. Pause. Anything to say? Hayes' mouth opened. I was following training. Your training taught you to racially profile minors. No, to ignore physical evidence. The description. Marcus's voice rose. Black male in a sweater is not a description. It's a stereotype. You used it to justify assaulting my son. He addressed the room. This incident is under federal investigation. Officer Hayes, you're suspended. Badge and weapon now. Hayes looked at Diaz. Diaz looked at the floor. Now, Marcus repeated. Hayes' hands shook. He removed his badge, set it on the desk, then his weapon magazine out. Chamber cleared on the desk. The sound echoed. Marcus turned to Jamal, expression softened. Father returned. Let's get you out of here. Jamal nodded, unable to speak. They walked to the exit, Marcus's hand on Jamal's shoulder. Protective. At the door, Marcus paused, looked back. This doesn't end here. There will be accountability, real accountability, not just for Hayes, but for every system that allowed this. Count on it. He and Jamal walked out. The doors closed. Inside, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Hayes stared at his badge on the desk, his career ending before his eyes. Outside the station, Jamal stood next to his father's car, shaking. Marcus kept his hand on Jamal's shoulder. You're safe now. We're going to handle this. Dad, I didn't. I know. You did nothing wrong. Jamal felt tears coming. He couldn't hold them back. Marcus pulled him into a hug. Let it out. Jamal cried into his father's shoulder. All the fear, the humiliation, the anger poured out. After a moment, Marcus pulled back. Here's what happens next. We make sure this means something. Not just for you, but for every kid who doesn't have an FBI director for a father. What do you mean? You'll see. Come on. They walked back toward the station. Jamal hesitated. I don't want to go back. You don't have to go in, but watch. Inside, FBI agents were everywhere, taking statements, reviewing footage, documenting everything. Marcus spoke to Simmons. Status: all evidence secured. Body cameras, dispatch recordings, witness statements. Good. Bring them in. 5 minutes later, the doors opened. Emily Carter walked in, eyes red. Mrs. Evelyn Ramirez followed head high. Behind them, security guard Kevin Morales looked terrified. Marcus addressed the room. Thank you for coming. What happened today was wrong. What happens next is up to all of us. He gestured to the TV. Watch this. The screen showed the complete sequence. But this time it started earlier. The actual theft at Gadget World. A white male, 20s, red sweater, shoving electronics into a bag, face clear on camera, then Morales on his radio, eyes scanning them all, passing over white teenagers, Asian teenagers, Hispanic teenagers, landing on Jamal, the only black teenager visible. The video continued multiple angles from above, from the side, from witnesses' phones. Devastating. When it ended, Marcus turned to Morales. "Mr. Morales, you're not a police officer, so I can't suspend you, but I can do something else." He pulled out his phone, made a call on speaker. "Mr. Delgado, Director Marcus Thompson, FBI. I'm calling about your security contract at Brookside Plaza." "Director Thompson, I saw the news. I'm so sorry. Mr. Morales is here. The guard who identified my son based solely on skin color. He told police he had no formal training, just instinct." Silence. "I need mandatory training for every guard you employ. Implicit bias, constitutional rights, de-escalation quarterly, not one time. The FBI will help set it up." "Yes, sir." "Absolutely. And Mr. Morales, he's your first trainee. He completes a restorative justice program. Then he can teach other guards what not to do." Marcus looked at Morales. "Sound fair?" Morales nodded frantically. "Yes, sir, I'm so sorry. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to my son." Morales turned to Jamal, tears streaming. "I'm sorry. I didn't think. I just assumed." "You assumed I was a criminal?" Jamal said quietly. "Because of my skin?" "Yes. And I was wrong. Do you understand what your assumption caused?" Morales nodded. "I do now." "Then do better. Learn better. Be better." Marcus turned to Emily. "Miss Carter, you tried to help. You had evidence. They dismissed you. Would you speak at a community meeting next week? Tell your story." Emily straightened. "Yes, absolutely." Marcus turned to Mrs. Ramirez. "You spoke up. You told the truth." Mrs. Ramirez's voice was strong. "I've lived here 40 years. I've seen this happen over and over. I'm tired of staying quiet." "Then don't. Your voices matter." He turned to the officers. Hayes stood there looking at the floor, Chen nearby uncomfortable. "Sergeant Diaz, here's what happens. The FBI launches a full investigation. Non-negotiable, but things can also happen now today." Diaz nodded. "What do you need?" "First, Hayes is suspended pending investigation." "Done. Second, mandatory training for every officer. Implicit bias. Constitutional rights. De-escalation. We can do that." "Third, community oversight board. Real oversight. Real disciplinary power, and I want Officer Chen on it." Chen looked up, shocked. "Me?" "You knew something was wrong today. I saw it on your face, but you didn't stop it. Now's your chance to do better." Chen swallowed. "Yes, sir, I want that. Fourth, body cameras for every officer. Footage automatically uploaded, public accessible. We can do that." "And fifth," Marcus looked at Hayes, "you complete a restorative justice program. If you do the work, you get a chance to make something good from this. Work with youth programs. Teach officers what not to do." Hayes looked up, eyes red. "Why would you give me that chance?" "Because my son deserves a world where police do better. That starts with you choosing to be better." Hayes's voice cracked. "I'm sorry." Marcus's voice was cold. "Don't tell me. Tell him." Hayes turned to Jamal. "I was wrong. I let my assumptions control me. I saw your skin instead of seeing you." "I'm sorry." Jamal didn't respond immediately. He looked at his father, then back at Hayes. "I'm 16 years old," Jamal said. "Honor student going to Stanford. I volunteer at a food bank. I coach Little League, never been in trouble, never had detention." His voice got stronger. "But none of that mattered to you. You saw black and you saw criminal. That's it. That's all I was." Hayes's face crumpled. So, yeah, Jamal continued. You should be sorry. You should do the program. You should learn because what you did to me, you've probably done to others, and they didn't have an FBI director for a father. Silence. Jamal looked at all the officers. My dad can make changes here, but you all have to choose to be different. Every day, every stop, every interaction, or nothing changes. Marcus squeezed Jamal's shoulder, pride in his eyes. My son is right, Marcus said. This ends today. The excuses end. The assumptions end. The violations end. Because if they don't, I'll be back, and next time it won't be a conversation. He looked at Simmons. Filed a formal complaint, full investigation, weekly updates. Yes, sir. Marcus turned to Jamal. Ready to go home? Jamal nodded. As they walked out, Marcus called back. Officer Hayes, you've got a choice. Let this destroy you or let it rebuild you. Choose wisely. They left. In the station, silence hung heavy. Then Chen spoke. I'll do it. The oversight board, the training, all of it. I want to help fix this. Diaz nodded slowly. Then let's start. Hayes stood alone, staring at his badge on the desk. For the first time in his career, he understood what he'd really done, what he'd taken from that teenager, and what it was going to cost him. 2 weeks later, Brookside Community Hall was packed. Over 160 people filled every seat. More stood along the walls. Local news cameras lined the back. On stage sat Marcus Thompson, Sergeant Diaz, Mayor Elizabeth Crawford, and Jamal. Jamal's shoulder had healed. The scrape on his face had faded, but the memory hadn't. Mayor Crawford stepped to the podium. 2 weeks ago, something happened that we can't ignore. We have to face it. We have to fix it. She gestured to Marcus. Director Thompson has been working with us on real change, not just words. Action. Marcus stood. 2 weeks ago, my son was racially profiled, assaulted, and illegally detained. If I hadn't been who I am, this story would have ended very differently. He paused. Justice shouldn't depend on who your father is. It should be a right for everyone. Applause filled the room. Here's what we're doing, Marcus continued. Mandatory implicit bias training for all police and security quarterly, not one time. The FBI is providing the curriculum. Community Oversight Board with real disciplinary power. Officer Michael Chen will chair it. Chen stood from the audience. People clapped. Some looked skeptical. Body cameras for every officer. Footage uploaded automatically. Accessible by public request within 72 hours. The applause grew louder. Partnership between Brookside PD and the FBI to create a model de-escalation program. Marcus looked out at the crowd. These aren't suggestions. They're requirements. They start now. He sat. Diaz stood approaching the podium. On behalf of Brookside Police, Diaz said, I apologize to Jamal Thompson in this community. We failed. We're supposed to protect everyone equally. We didn't. His voice was heavy. Officer Hayes has resigned. He's enrolled in a restorative justice program. If he completes it, he'll work with youth programs. But that's not enough. The system failed. We're fixing it. Diaz sat. Mayor Crawford returned. Jamal, would you like to say anything? Jamal stood. His legs felt weak. He approached the microphone. The room went silent. He didn't have notes. Didn't need them. I was just shopping, Jamal began. His voice was quiet but steady. But they saw a threat. He looked around the room. Don't let that be your kid's story. Speak up like Miss Carter did. That was it. 6 seconds. 21 words, but the room exploded. Standing ovation. The simplicity hit harder than any long speech could. Emily Carter in the third row wiped her eyes. Mrs. Ramirez stood, fist raised. Mayor Crawford returned to the mic. There's something else you should know. Jamal's story has gone viral. #Justice for Jamal is now a TikTok trend. Over 2 million videos of parents having the talk with their kids. Black parents teaching their children how to survive police encounters. White parents finally understanding why that talk is necessary. The room buzzed. People pulled out their phones, searching the hashtag. This conversation is happening in living rooms across America, Crawford continued. Because of what happened here, because Jamal spoke up, because Miss Carter spoke up, because all of you are speaking up. After the meeting, people lined up to thank Jamal to share their stories. Then Officer Chen approached. "Jamal," Chen said quietly, "I want to apologize personally. I should have done more that day. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't stop it." Jamal looked at him. "You were uncomfortable, I could see it. But uncomfortable isn't the same as doing something." Chen nodded. "I know. That's why I'm on the oversight board. I want to make sure this never happens again." He extended his hand. Jamal looked at it, looked at his father. Marcus gave a small nod. Jamal shook Chen's hand. "Then let's work together," Jamal said. Chen's eyes were wet. "Thank you. I won't let you down." As Chen walked away, Marcus put his arm around Jamal. "I'm proud of you," Marcus said. "For what?" "For shaking his hand." That took courage. Jamal watched Chen talking to community members. He seemed like he meant it. Maybe he did. Maybe he won't follow through. But you gave him the chance. That's what matters. Across the room, a teenage girl approached. She was filming on her phone. "Jamal, I'm doing the TikTok challenge. Can I ask what would you tell other kids who look like you?" Jamal thought for a moment, then looked directly at her camera. "Don't let anyone make you feel like you don't belong. You do. And when they try to make you small, stand tall anyway." The girl smiled, tears in her eyes. "Thank you." She walked away, already posting the video. Marcus squeezed Jamal's shoulder. "That's going to get 1 million views?" "Good," Jamal said. "Maybe it'll help someone. This is what transformation looks like. Not perfection, progress, not revenge, restoration, one choice at a time, one person at a time, one viral video at a time." 3 months later, Jamal stood in his Stanford dorm room unpacking boxes. He pulled out the gray sweater, the same one from that day. He'd washed it, kept it. His roommate walked in. "Nice sweater. Where'd you get it?" Jamal smiled. "Long story. Remind me to tell you about the day I learned the difference between power and justice. Officer Hayes completed his restorative justice program. Now he speaks at police academies about implicit bias, his own story, his own shame, his own growth. Officer Chen chairs Brookside's oversight board. Real change is happening slowly but happening. The plaza's new security protocol has been adopted by 19 shopping centers nationwide. One moment of injustice became a catalyst for systemic change. So here's the question. Have you ever witnessed power crumble in the face of truth? Justice shouldn't depend on who your father is. It should be a right for everyone. If this story moved you, hit subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment. What's one action you'll take to stand up against injustice? Because change doesn't start with luck.